can't believe that's such a base model bike. I mean, they do a good job of making them look.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is beautiful.
Not cheap.
All right, so I've already got it turned on there.
Okay.
So when you're ready, I don't know if you pull in the clutch first or not or whatever.
I usually do.
Okay, so
We ready?
push this down.
Yep.
Yeah. That's your fuel injection. You'll hear it prime. Push it all the way down. Now, does it matter the mode that it's in for you? Do you?
I'll just run standard for now.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. One down,
right.
5 up.
And just
Yeah,
around
just
this lot here.
in that main area out there.
Okay.
You know, just feel it's a pretty large size area. Just whip around there.
Alrighty.
Do whatever kind of maneuvers you want to do. Feel comfortable with it. You come back, you can just park it right here. So
Appreciate it.
now, all right, yeah, just take it out there, enjoy, have fun.
All right, thank you. One thing he told me, they've on one of the bikes in there, that gold one, they had went ahead and pulled these handlebars, actually pulled them up. And a lot of people complain about the kind of how low these bars are. They're not bad. I mean, I'd had to feel it with some. The clutch is really weird, the feel, and it's cable operated, which is fine. My Heritage was cable operated, but I mean, if you're familiar with the Harley Touring, it feels like, you know, you're almost all the way out on the lever is what I'm trying to say before you get going, before you engage the clutch. And this one is right off of the grip. I mean, it's like right off of the grip and you're going. So as much like this is more similar to ride to that K1600 than it is my electric Glide. I wouldn't say it feels like it's quite that precision in its controls, but just the I don't know. It's kind of a blend between the two bikes, to be honest. Sounds more like my V-twin, but there's something about it that reminds me of that BMW too. I want to play with the there it is. Let's play with this windshield and get it up. I mean, we're going so slow, I'm not going to be able to tell much. Definitely quick, no doubt about that. You'd really just have to, I mean, I appreciate them letting me ride it, but until you're out there on the interstate, you're not going to be able to tell much. Just do some low speed maneuvers. Ooh, the front brake is soft. I don't know why it feels that way. Very strange clutch feel. Easy to maneuver. They had some semblance of the old parking spots. I could use my Jerry Palladino skills and see if I can keep it within 2 on a 180 here, but I think I could. Use the brake in the friction zone, Jerry. Keep that RPM up. I wasn't turning my head. Nope, didn't do that right. But impressions are is this bike could be really easy to adapt to. But it is a little bit different than anything I've ridden. Probably ought to try out this sport mode while I'm at it. I don't know how fun the sport mode in second gear is going to be, but boy, that front brake is weak. I don't know if they didn't set that up right coming from the factory. Okay. Let's go to sport mode. Don't want to get in the gravel here. Oh, shoot. I think I lifted the front wheel just a smidge. I don't know if the salesman's going to think, looking out here when I'm riding a wheelie. Yep, it gets get off this before I get in trouble. Just kind of feels like it needs to be broken a little bit. The controls and everything are a little bit tight. Maybe the front brake needs to have that initial film burn off of it before it starts to grab a little bit better, I'm guessing. So my impressions of that are probably not accurate yet. But I don't know, nothing to complain about. I think I would like the handlebars adjusted, and then they had a kind of their version of a Harley tall man seat that puts you sitting back further. If you look at kind of where my legs want to be, that would be nice, because that shifter's in a really bad spot for me. I'd want that shifter out there, and I'd want to sit back a little bit further. And the bike I sat on inside had the handlebars rotated up, and it didn't, it's such at a crazy angle now, it doesn't really hurt your reach. It just goes up the arc that it's on. So I would probably want that tall man seat, and then see where my legs ended up and go from there. But yeah, that's what I would do. Is that what they call the Indian Tex? I don't know, but it's a nice bike. I can't say much more without running 70, 80 mile an hour, and because a lot of what I think about a bike has to do with how it handles its speed and how much the wind is killing you and all that. So anyway, pretty cool. So what he told me that distinguishes this standard or base model bike from the others is it doesn't have Navi, and it doesn't have it's got engine control as far as modes, but as far as that more sophisticated handling protection where based on your lean angle and stuff, and it engages traction control differently and all that stabilization, I think they called it. It doesn't have that. And this is the only bike of the models they have that doesn't have that. And then once you go past this model, which is only available in gray, whether you go Dark Horse or you go I think they call it the Limited, then you get the Navi and the stabilization. So this is the only bike that doesn't have it, and it's significantly cheaper at $22,000 versus 27 or 28,000. So my opinion is if you want one of these, just get this one. You know how I am. I don't care about radios, all that business. So I just like the basic bikes. I don't know if I feel like I gotta have one though, which is good because I don't need another bike. All right, so I got to ride the Challenger. I told the salesman, I said, you know, I would really have to put it on the highway before I consider it. But that's just their policy here, which is fine. Keeps out the tire kickers like me, and honestly keeps me from making any dumb decisions. So there's the bike I rode. Get a view of it here next to mine. See, what would I be missing or gaining? I'm glad I cleaned up mine nicely because mine still looks pretty much new. You'd have to have a tour pack. My wife's not going to go for that. And she's not going to give up her big soft seat either, which they don't make a touring seat yet for these. And the touring seat they make for their other model doesn't bolt on there. I'm sure someone makes one, but Indian did. Anyway, I enjoyed it. The engine's probably the most impressive thing about it, which is kind of where I was with that K1600 BMW. The thing about Harleys is, and not just Harleys, but once you spend the time to get the ergonomics set right for you, it is hard to get on another bike. You know, it's hard to compare because I've got this bike, got hit first gear, dialed in for me, and I'm used to it. And as nice as that bike is, I'm just not as comfortable. But it's a nice bike. And I told the guy, I said, I think, you know, Indian's going to do really well with this. And I do believe that. I have not ridden any other Indians, but one thing I learned some things. The engine is a structural member with the bike, so there's not, like on your Harley, your V-twin sitting in there on top of two frame rails, you know, that you can see when you get underneath the bike. If you look under that Indian, I mean, the engine's it. The engine is the bottom of the bike, and everything kind of hangs off of it. So I didn't realize that. I don't know if that's good or bad or what. I would think doing a engine tear out might be more of a major deal, but you don't buy a bike like that thinking you're going to have to do that. But I don't know, so that's a different design. I'm sure that's more modern design than your Harley touring platform. That doesn't mean it's better, it just means it's newer. I don't ride down the road thinking, dang, I wish my engine was a structural member. And the other thing that I'm surprised about is your lean angle isn't really any better on that bike. It's the same 32 degrees, I believe. I need to check that. Seems like it needs to have a 35, 36 degree lean angle to really take advantage of all the suspension upgrades that it has compared to a Harley Touring. So for what it's worth, that's kind of where I'm at on that bike. It's nice, its build quality is nice. You know, that's one thing I said I wanted to check. And I wouldn't spend any more than that, what you guys spend on that base model. Oh, and by the way, the Dark Horse, I think that Dark Horse kind of sucks. If you know anything about paint, you know that dull paint is not as hard as shiny paint. I mean, shiny paint is hard and durable because it's shiny. You know, it actually hardens after you get it on the bike and gets a little, or after you spray it, it gets a little bit harder. So why in the hell you'd pay $6,500 to get a paint job that you really can't take care of. And maybe that's just me, and maybe that's my, bias working with paint, detailing cars, but there's no way in hell I'd buy a Dark Horse anything. And same for Harley. I don't know all the names of their models nowadays, but any of those flat black paint jobs or dull paint jobs where the paint isn't glossy, they can keep that. Anyway, I think that's that for this video. Everybody have a good Father's Day. Relax. Call your dad. I'd love to see in the comments any of your stories as far as your dads and motorcycles, what influences you had. Until next time, see ya.